Sulphur Springs City Council June 6th meeting to order. Roll call vote.
Robert Miller,
Here.
Jeff Bass, Kenny Brown,
Here.
Lisa Van Hook,
Here.
Terry Hall,
Here.
Becky Lane.
Here.
We have 506, we have a quorum.
All right, Mr. Joe, will you lead us in order of prayer, please?
Our Father, we thank you for this day. We come before your throne of grace and offer praise, offer you glory, that we worship you for what you are, all that you are. We thank you that you have returned our councilman, Robert Miller, as a father and a husband, back to us. We pray that he will continue to heal. We thank you for the sacrifices of all those who went before us to keep us free, to liberate the world from oppression. We pray that the later generations, from the greatest generation, will look back and will seek you and seek your face and follow your will and not the individual will of the person. We have many decisions we have to make tonight. We pray you will give us wisdom to wisely make these decisions and manage what we have in such a way that we can deliver services to our taxpayers and our citizens, and more importantly, that we bring honor and glory to you. We pray for our policemen and firemen and first responders and all those in uniform as they protect us and serve us. We pray that you would keep them safe and able to help us and serve us. We ask all these things in thy son's name. Amen.
Amen. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Get a motion to approve the minutes from the May 16th meeting. I'll make it. So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Yes, there needs to be a correction.
Okay.
Under comments from Police Chief David Laxton, I believe David's going to give you the correction for that, Joe. It's just regarding the grant.
And also there's a Thomas McCormick comment here too.
Yeah, under comments from town council members, the name is incorrect. You might want to change that. The city manager Jenkins.
Anything else? Any further discussion?
That includes the public hearing too, I think.
Yeah, there is a public
For the Parks and Rec grant public hearing.
hearing. You want everything that together, or do you want to do that? On that public, on the park thing? So we're actually going to pass both of these in, with those amendments. He said he would to include that, the
What's
public
that?
hearing minutes as
Okay,
well.
that's fine.
We're passing them both. So we're voting on them both.
All right, roll call, Joe.
Robert Miller,
Yes.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Lisa Van Hook,
Yes.
Terry Hall,
Yes.
Becky Devane.
Yes.
Passed.
Thank you, Joe. At this time, is there any delegation from citizens who would like to come forward and speak? If so, state your name and come forward. Nobody at this time? Okay. Mayor update real quick. As good seeing Mr. Robert Miller back. Scared the bejeez out of us. Had I think 3 heart attacks in just like 2 or 3 day period. And then I had open heart surgery and was touch and go there for a while. And it's good to see you back and doing the city business and doing well. So I want to apologize for missing the last meeting. My wife and I, so my wife is 14-year veteran of the United States Army. She's in the reserve. And so right now she's at Fort Hood, Texas for a month with the Army. Her unit will be deployed next March to Kuwait. So that doesn't mean that my wife is going to be deployed. It means her unit is being deployed. She might be, she might not be, we don't know. So all that being said, my wife and I, we went away for about 3.5, 4 days at the last meeting. So that's why I wasn't here, just trying to spend some quality time with my wife. And so I appreciate council allowing me to do that. Terry, thank you for stepping in and assuming the role of mayor. So just want to say that. So thank you guys. Also wanted to announce a TDOT grant that we have been given. It's a Highways and Byways Beautification Grant, roughly $9,500, and we have already ordered 25,000 daffodils that we will be planting in the fall in 2 designated locations. I've already been talking to volunteers. I mean, obviously we're going to need a substantial amount of volunteers to make this project happen. And when I say excited, I can't even begin to tell you how excited I am. So I want to say thank you to David Laxton, who filled out all the work for that. So daffodils, it's like when you're going to Pellissippi Parkway in the spring, you have the yellow, you know, and it's beautiful. You have people taking pictures. So hopefully that's what we're going to recreate here in Little Oliver Springs, right? So give people a reason to come into our town and to, you know, take pictures. And then once they're done, you just mow right over top of them, right? There you go, Stephen, just for you.
Start that early too.
So, you know, but all that being said, I'm very excited about that. And I think it'll just, again, add a little flavor, a little extra taste to our town and do something a little bit different. So all that being said, before the city manager gives his update, we do need to call an executive session with the city attorney. Shouldn't take very long, so we're going to adjourn just momentarily. We'll be over there just hopefully just for a few minutes while he explains the situation. So, call the meeting back to order. All right, at this time, city manager update, Mr. Jenkins.
First thing I've got is Saturday, June the 15th, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. We have our Juneteenth Freedom Gathering at Carmichael Park. That is sponsored by the Mamie Carmichael School Organization and the Town of Oliver Springs. So everyone is welcome at that. Another thing, on Saturday, June the 22nd, Miss Lauren Lefew has put together an arts and crafts and kind of marketplace set up, kind of like a mini October Sky at Arrowhead Park. Last night I heard there were going to be 70 plus vendors. Then she had 5 to 8 food trucks set up. Other stuff, I guess we'll hit the financials and the budget later on in the agenda. Well, one thing, our inmate labor supervisor, Stephen Davis, he should be back within a couple weeks. So hopefully when he gets back, we can start back on some little paving projects, probably June the 18th through the 20th or the 25th through the 27th. And that's all I have at the moment.
And if Cecil Crow was here, I would say, in this matter of public record, I have spoken with Corey, to Mr. Laxton, and to Mr. Holland about updating our policy and procedure in regards to city ordinances on issues such as cleanliness and enforcement of town policy when it comes to lots and houses and stuff of that nature. So hopefully going forward, we will have something that we can look at and strengthen our code and give our codes enforcement more leverage should we say, in, making our town beautiful and, sightly. So just be looking forward for that. If you have any suggestions, bring them to us as Chief and Corey are reviewing and gathering data and whatnot. So, all right, at this time, Mr. Miller.
I would just like to thank each and every one for their prayers, thoughts during the last couple of months for things that I've been through. And since I've had this surgery, I get emotional pretty easy, so everybody just bear with me. Good Lord, give me a second chance for what I don't know. But I would like to thank each and every person here for their prayers and for the people that reached out to the family while I was in the hospital. And I do thank each and every one from the bottom of my heart, and I thank the good Lord for giving me the second chance. So, that's all I got, sir.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, I agree, and so thank you for that, Mr. Miller. Mr. Brown?
You ain't gonna, glad to have you back from my left hand man, boy.
Thank you, sir.
Listen, I'm up in Windrock and there's no street sign there, but there's a cover. It's close to address 1032. It's stopped up. And it kinda comes around there, there's no street sign there to get that. I got a picture of it. It's close to the Diggs old homestead. But, then that other place up there, did that get looked at for the?
Yeah, that's right off of Colbert on Cox Circle.
Yeah.
Green Street.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we did put that extension in there.
yeah.
Next time we pave, that's on the list, we'll
On the
let's go
list.
back, put the asphalt on, so
Okay,
that
let's need
is out.
some clean up plus some paving too out there at that turn. And it's kind of confusing the way it comes out. One street coming this way and the other street's a one-way street coming around Cox Circle.
Yeah,
And that's where that drain is stopped up right there.
right, okay.
And also I want to update on this Hometown Heroes. I understand from American Legion that they have bought them and they're here.
Yep. So we are waiting on David Metcalf.
Metcalf.
There you go, David, from CUB. CUB has allowed us to use their poles. However, they have not designated which poles exactly that we can use and cannot use. So they were gracious enough to amend their policy to allow us to use poles. Now we're just waiting for them to clarify. And it's supposed to be, hopefully this coming week, that he will give us, or give the American Legion, give us the list of poles that we can use.
As far as installation, we're took the responsibility of putting them up
Yes.
and taking them down or whatever.
Yes.
But I know from talking with the people up there at the American Legion, their phone's off the wall wanting to buy a plaque or a picture for their family relatives. They say they can't do anything till we get something done. But they got like 50, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I think it's up to like 80.
Yeah, I think it's more.
Are they here or at?
Yeah, they're in here beside, or in my office.
Okay, they're here?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's what he told me, they was here. So that was my understanding from talking to them. They said, well, we've got them, we got everything here.
Yeah.
Why ain't you? And I'm getting phone calls every day from somebody that's heard about this, that wants to buy, or pay the fee
Yeah.
to get their relative or loved one.
And again,
But,
we're just waiting on CUB to give us the final list of which poles we can use and which poles we cannot use. And, I mean, could we theoretically go ahead and start installing them? Yes. And then we also face the backlash of using poles that we weren't supposed to use, and then they would tell us, take them down, and
well, there was also a debate of people that purchased these honor flags had specific areas they wanted their relatives hung in. And
yeah,
that part was real critical to some of the people that did it. They wanted their flagpole hung in this area, because that's where they're grown, raised, or whatever. They can't always be that way. But they had no answers for them at the American Legion. That's what I'm saying, that we're still under the mercy of the Clinton Utilities
Yes.
to get this done.
Yes.
Okay, well, that, I
So,
hope they,
one idea going forward, and I mentioned this to Chief Laxton just last week, up at the flag park that we have, in say next year, hosting a very large fundraiser with the DAV, American Legion, the town, and along with a TDOT grant, because they have grants available, we just completely renovate that flag park. And there are spaces for 35 poles that you could put up, and then you could have your own memorial flag park for your veterans right there. I mean, you could host 90, 100, 120 flags, and it'd be right there, and that'd be like a focal point for our town. I think would be phenomenal. I think it would be, do you know of another town that has a flag park like that? I don't, personally. I mean, would it cost probably $20,000, $25,000, $30,000? Yes, it would. But I'm telling you, I think, and David had an incredible idea about a fundraiser event, private citizens, and we raise the money, and that money doesn't go to the city, that money goes to the DAV, and let the DAV administer, you know, the funds to rehabilitate that flag park, and then we get us a TDOT grant, and we continue, and that way we don't have to worry about what CUB says or doesn't say.
well, I know that was the issue that they brought up about, you mentioned something about a grant. And,
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
give them David's phone number and let them call David. He gets
I was about to say,
those.
and don't think, I hadn't thought about that, Joe. I mean, you know, all of a sudden you get CUB's phone number and let 50, 100, 150 people start calling CUB and be like, hey, we've been waiting 6 months. I mean, I'm not opposed.
but anyway, that was getting my ears bent back when I stopped up there to say hello.
Yeah.
But that's part of it, and I didn't have all the answers they wanted, but hopefully we got them now. That's all I have right now.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Ms. Van Hook?
Nothing right now.
Mr. Holland?
Did we ever work out anything on Cox Circle about either signs or arrows or routing that up?
Yes.
So those signs, the no ATV signs are actually in your office now.
Okay.
So we need to look at them before we leave. So there's 2 different no ATV traffic signs.
Yeah, looking at that, kind of had a plan, but it's kind of confusing because that sign's still there, saying no ATVs, period, so that makes them want to start creeping on back roads. They sit the bridge at the
Yeah,
cove.
yeah.
That kind of needs to go away, so, yeah, I thought if we had like arrows at every intersection, can we get by painting arrows on the road?
We could.
For like an ATV route.
Yeah.
Right, you know, there's what, 3 turns, if we had the arrow right at the turnoff, that would direct them on through where they would go down and turn to the left.
Russ, you had one idea. What did Rocky Top or Lake City do with the ATV route? Maybe there's signs or something?
Yeah, there's signs, they're bigger than what we have now, they're about the size that we've got
And
now.
they were blue, green,
Brown,
brown,
yeah.
so that might be something, like a bigger ATV route.
So that would keep you from driving
So that
around.
would be the no ATV sign.
Yep.
We'll look at
Wow.
something before we leave.
And also, the signs that are going up, also Chief did a vehicle study, was it 10 days? 11 days worth of data. It shows you how many people or how many vehicles, an hourly breakdown of the vehicles, the speed of the vehicles, whether, I mean, but all that data is available as well to help reinforce, you know, what times we could be patrolling that area versus, you know, so.
Yep, I wrote it trying to think it was out of towner, and I really don't really understand why they would turn up that way anyways. But to help them out, where they would be so lost, we had to have some kind of sign.
So I think a lot of that traffic study, a lot of the traffic was coming down, more of it was coming down off the hill.
It was not going up.
Yeah,
Right, that's
so
what,
that's, yeah.
the inmates, I'm one of them type of my family lots get high on just mowing, do we need to tell everybody it may be getting tall, or you think it'd be resolved before it really? It looks okay right now, but I mean, a couple more weeks, the cemetery may get higher.
Right, so Rusty's, and I mean, the street crew right now has been doing, I mean, a phenomenal job of keeping everything halfway caught up as best as possible.
Well, that's
So
what I mean,
hopefully
if we
within the
could
next
get,
couple of weeks.
I go back to see the doctor the 19th, so I'm hoping to get a partial release. I had the procedure done yesterday to expedite me coming back. Because they were telling me it'd be another 2 months, 1 to 3 months, and I'm cutting it down to 2.
Right.
To try to get back because I know they need it down here.
you're the inmate. boy.
He is, that's Stephen.
Stephen Davis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm Stephen Davis. I'm the one that brings them down here and takes them home.
Okay. Well, that's all.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Hall. Mr. Bain?
Any updates on the Redbud Park?
Ooh, I do not have an update on that. I do know that I've spoke with Rusty about that, about tearing the existing pavilion down and kind of getting the electric where it's safe for the moment. So right now you've got open wires up there. They may be, I think they might be, they're probably dead, but you still got open, you got a safety issue there.
Right.
So no, that's something I need to follow up on that one.
They are dead.
There's no electricity to them.
Check.
Okay. That's good. Anything else?
I got one more.
Yep, go ahead.
Are we still working on collections, the different outfit, or on the garbage?
Yes.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Are we just taking bid? I mean, they're doing okay if they just have a backup plan when they don't
So that's,
miss.
so I've not sent the official solicitation for bid form out yet. But, I mean, there's been 2 or 3 different, garbage firms or contractors call and want to bid on this. So we may end up with, previously I had 4 different ones. So we may end up with 5 or 6 different contractors that'll bid on this.
So what do you think a realistic timetable would be? August, September?
So the existing contract with Waste Connections goes up in October.
Yes.
I believe it's up in October.
Or we could issue a 120-day cease to exist, right? Or something like that, Tyler?
Yeah, we've already had similar.
Oh, we have?
Yeah, just.
So maybe that's the reason why their service is a lot better lately. That's awful. You send a company a letter saying, oh, by the way, we're terminating your service, and then they start getting good at it. Shocker how that happens, right? So.
The short answer to you there is, I guess the second meeting, I would say the first meeting in July, but it's going to be the 18th by then. You just need something in place before you do away with your Waste Connections, that's your contract.
And just remember, until then, keep your garbage off the ground, because the skunks are getting crazy.
Right. Sure. All right. Thank you, Mr. Holland. Chief?
Just a couple of things right quick. Any questions on any of the activity reports? First thing, from the last meeting, I had told you about the new radios with the VCI grant that we purchased with Oak Ridge Police Department. They are now fully up and going. All officers have been issued the new radios. We are now one of needing to surplus or transfer the current radios over to the fire department to Chief Bailey.
How long has it been since how old are the radios?
About 6 years old. Back during the beginning of some of the federal aid that was coming down, there was an emergency responder grant that came to the town of Oliver Springs, and it could only be spent on emergency services. At the time, the police department needed to be upgraded to the Valley system, whereas all of our surrounding police agencies went to it. They elected to give us the money to purchase these radios. The fire department kind of got left behind. Well, in the meantime, we've gotten this grant. They have purchased half of what they need, I believe, through a grant with Anderson County. This here will help finish off the rest of the firemen that need these radios, and we will all be on this new Valley system.
I believe it was 6 years ago, it was 4 years ago.
So do we need to make a motion to do that, Joe?
If you need one.
You need a motion?
Yes, from what I got told, for us to surplus property out of us, because what will happen is there is a fiscal note attached to this. Even though back in the day when you bought a radio, it just worked on the frequency, these work on the Valley system, which is owned by the city of Chattanooga. We have to pay them a very small fee every year. This will have to surplus out of the police department and be accepted by the fire, so it would need a motion second to transfer this because there is a fiscal note.
So who makes a motion?
I'll make a motion, to transfer, how many, chief?
11?
11.
Yes.
So Mr. Miller makes a motion to transfer
11
11,
radios from the police department to the fire department.
Second.
and Ms. Van Hook seconds. Any discussion? Roll call, Joe?
Robert Miller,
Yes.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Teresa Van Hook,
Yes.
Terry Holland,
Yes.
Becky Devane.
Yes.
In talking about radios, this is the last item I have for tonight. So an officer in his patrol car or on his person has a radio. For our dispatchers, it's not called a radio, it's called a console. In your package, y'all received everything from Motorola, which is on a state bid contract. Several years ago, Anderson County, which is our mother 911 agency, went to an AV tech system. We at the time, and I believe a few of you might remember, we were looking at losing dispatch to Anderson County Sheriff's Department. That did not happen. However, they still have the idea that that may occur one day. I went to them for the past 2 years in a row, asking them to upgrade our console system to the AV tech system like they did. They still, as if it's last time I went, are refusing to help assist with it because they feel that spending this kind of money on a secondary PSAP location, which is a secondary 911 location, is not in their best interest for their money. However, when I'm talking to them and talking with Motorola, when we have radio issues with our console, there is no longer any kind of support or tech support for it. If we go down tonight, we're down. There is no more radio in dispatch, no more console in dispatch. We will have to end up sending our employees to Clinton, to the Anderson County Sheriff's Department to take over one of their consoles so we can keep operating. We are wanting to avoid this, and this is the only way right now, is to upgrade to this system. Me and Corey started talking about this in the beginning with money. I've run it by the mayor. So what we do with our 911 money, Anderson County 911 Board gives us $10,000 a year every December to help us run our dispatch. That money is not allocated for anything specific, it's just whatever our need is. Well, our big need right now is a new console. The new console is going to cost $52,000. Well, I have been able to save over the past few years around $29,000 of that. So looking at the finances, looking at what Motorola is offering as far as in like a lease to purchase program, if we put $20,000 down out of that 911 dispatch fund that we have, it will not be anything that comes out of budget. We will end up having to finance lease to purchase $32,000. That's what those breakdowns are. You can do it in a 2-year payment, a 3, 4, or 5-year payment. I'm coming to y'all tonight. We could stretch and do the 3-year, but I worry that we may end up having to get into general fund money. If we was to go with the 4-year, that $10,000 payment will, be made every year through that money. It won't cost anything out of budget, and we'll be able to operate over those next years off of what is remaining in our balance. So I'm coming tonight asking y'all if we can move forward with purchasing and which one you feel most comfortable with. At least I'm looking at the 4-year, but if you think 3, 4, or 5 looks best to allow the mayor to sign this contract.
I spoke with you earlier today about this. Personally, I think option 3, the 4 years, is the more reasonable plan. It doesn't put us at risk of having to dip into the general fund if we go that route. And you also informed me when we were talking that this console would probably have a 15 to an 18-year lifespan.
That is
We're
tip-
buying a piece of fairly important equipment.
Correct.
That would have should have a long period of service.
Yeah, the one we have currently, that's what the lifespan we've gotten out of it so far.
Where are we at as far as getting this installed and everything? Is it immediately?
If we get the approval tonight and we place the order with Motorola because it is on state bid, they said that they could have it up and running in 2 to 3 months.
the down payment has to be up front?
I'm not quite sure of all the details. I think that is the first initial payment. So what would happen, and of course Corey might be able to help me a little bit on this, but once we enter into a contract with them, the mayor signs it, they will get everything ordered. I'm not sure if there's, like he talks about, net 30 or net 90. Once we receive it, we have 30 or 90 days to pay the first initial payment, and then every year after that will be the next reoccurring payments. We anticipated and told Motorola that we wanted the payments to come after December, so that way it's never really hitting our fund balance. It's always hitting right after we receive the stipend from Anderson County 911.
And you've been good at grants and stuff, there's just nothing to help you out with. Seems like this would be in some kind of category.
There is, and the reason that it's come out is there are some new laws coming out, and this is what's pushing for consolidated dispatch. So the state of Tennessee has tried for the past 2 years in a row to enact a law that says no 911 calls can ever be transferred. That's fine and dandy if you're, in a big city with a lot of cell phone towers, but when you get into Oliver Springs in 3 counties, if you dial 911 right now and you hit Morgan County, they can't transfer your 911 call. They have to be able to dispatch police, fire, and everything from that one location. So they are doing away with all secondary PSAP locations and creating all counties to go to a central 911. That is how we are not going to get funded, but they would.
But do you have to have another tower now?
I apologize.
Another tower?
No. This is just literally the console inside the office, which is basically a computer with a microphone. And when they key up, instead of it actually being a physical radio, it's a computer.
But there's no other additional things we'll have to buy,
There won't be anything to purchase. The only thing that you will have is a maintenance contract if you want to stay with it for, updates, maintenance for them to come out. At that time, we can come to you and let you know, hey, we can either pay for it out of pocket as we have issues, or we can pay this service contract, and every time it breaks, it's free to fix it.
I didn't see that on there, the price for the maintenance contract.
That has not come up yet. That will be after install. That we get the first year free for warranty, and then it's after that if we have that. That'll be something we bring back to you next year.
So you need a motion?
Yes.
I make the motion that we go with option 3 and purchase this Motorola console that Chief Laxton needs for the police department.
I second.
So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, Joe?
Robert Miller,
Yes.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Lisa Van Hook,
Yes.
Terry Holland,
Yes.
Becky Delaney,
Yes.
all being passed.
Thank you.
You, Chief,
Yes, sir.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Will this have the feature to do like Knoxville with the text?
So what you're talking about is the 911 texting.
Text, right?
So that is now going to come through Anderson County and be filtered to us. So Anderson County already has the capabilities in Clinton. I think Oak Ridge was a few months behind them. I don't know if they're up and running yet. But as that comes in, because they are the main PSAP location, if you hit an Anderson County tower texting 911, it'll go to Anderson County. If you're in Morgan County and text 911, if they're not up and running with it yet, it won't go nowhere.
I think they're updated. I think we're all ready.
Okay, so, it's one of those that it's all filtered out. That's why you haven't seen a lot of media release about it yet. Not all 95 counties are up and running. We're hopefully to have that soon, but as you text, it also sends the GPS coordinates, everything that we need. It goes to basically your main PSAP location, which is Anderson County for us. So they will receive that information, put it in our card, and send that information to us. So that's an expense we won't have to look at getting.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Chief Bailey?
You should have his handout too.
Yes, right prior to council meeting, you guys should have received a handout. Apologize for not getting it to you guys a little bit before, but these bids were opened on Friday, reviewed over Monday and Tuesday, and I put all this together last night. So back in March, you guys approved a $25,450 volunteer firefighter assistance grant for equipment. That was for the purchase of complete sets of turnout gear. We did send that out to bid. We did receive bids back from 5 of our vendors for various pieces of equipment. Those 5 different bids, one for the actual turnout equipment, which is the jacket and the coat, or jacket and pants, one for fire helmets, one for our protective gloves or hoods and boots. Those bids come back, as you see on page 2, with the winning bids. That was per price item. It's roughly about it's $3,764 per set of turnout gear. The way this grant works is we are to spend out money until the money is gone. So for 6 sets of turnout gear, we'd actually end up with extra money, which they don't want the money back. They'll tell you, hey, to spend out the money. So if we buy 7 sets off this bids that we received, we'll actually have a bid cost of $26,348, which would actually be an expense to us of $898. So for me, it's 7 sets of gear that needs to be replaced for $898 that we will be receiving. What I need hopefully from you guys is a motion and a second to be able to accept the bids as selected and purchase 7 complete sets of turnout gear.
I make the motion that we purchase this gear for the fire department.
Teresa with a motion, who seconds?
I'll second.
Mr. Miller with a second. Any discussion?
I got some discussion and I understand, this equipment, but I read an article several months ago, or weeks ago, about these EVs. And the equipment it takes to handle a fire. And that, it was outrageous of what people are not, we don't have it, I'm assuming, right?
So the equipment the way we would actually fight those fires are actually just apply plenty of water. Our actual turnout gear protects us.
Yeah.
That does not change. What changes is what used to be 1,500 gallons of water that we'd be applying to this. We're talking 15,000 to 20,000 gallons of water. The battery pack on most of these are underneath the vehicle. One technique, and the techniques are evolving as we talk. One technique is to actually puncture the battery pack, but if you talk to manufacturers, they say don't puncture the battery pack. One manufacturer will say don't apply water, well, when we fight vehicle fire, we apply water. So a lot of the technology is still changing when it comes to that. But what this is for is mainly for structural firefighting.
Well, this article, it was out of Bristol, Virginia, and they bought equipment, and it was outrageous the price.
Justin,
But they said,
There's a fire
electric
blanket
vehicles,
now.
Oh, the blanket, okay.
you have to have a blanket.
Kingston's got
The
one.
blanket is still being, you got 2 different manufacturers that are telling you that they can do it with 2 different things. The blanket smothers, it doesn't cool. One manufacturer actually sells a nozzle. And it's one of those things that I would not bring that to you guys until it's been well tested and approved. Firefighting foam does not work. So I won't be even suggesting to buy a lot of firefighting foam for that. When the technology and the techniques are more proven than what they are, then I will say, hey, by the way, this is what it is. But the price of our equipment is going outrageous. That's like this. I'm looking at almost $3,800 complete set of turnout gear. Back when we purchased 16 sets of turnout gear, complete sets were around $2,500 to $2,700. That was 6 years ago. So, we're going up $1,000 at a time.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I won't even suggest a piece of equipment for that particular hazard until it's been well tested.
I know we don't have a very limited amount of them, but, it makes you interested because supposedly you're not supposed to put water on them. Then what do?
One of the techniques we actually use is actually dunking it in complete water. We'll dig a hole and bury it.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I
Fill
mean,
water.
it's on a 4-lane in a wreck, you can't hardly do that,
So, but there's techniques that's out there and stuff. It's just, we all won't buy equipment with it.
Okay, let's hope it don't happen here.
Different question, Chief. How many sets of turnout gear, if we vote these in, how many would you have?
So-
Complete sets.
That puts, this actually replaces 7 sets, is all it does. The sets that are being replaced are aged out. So we keep them as backups in case somebody has some faulty gear or something of that nature. But we try not to use them because they're not decertified, but the recommendation nationally is they get replaced every 5 to 10 years, depending on which standard you're looking at. Right now, the standard is 10 years. And like my particular set is 12 years old. So you've got four of us that are replacing 12-year-old sets. One of them is 11 years and the other ones are 10. That'll be replacing these.
And how many more sets need to be replaced?
So I've got a grant out right now to replace all 20, well, not 24 sets. It was 5 sets minus those 19 sets that I was going to replace off of another grant.
19 more sets.
Yeah. So.
Well, motion on the
Okay, so we have motion second, discussion. Roll call, Joe.
Robert Miller,
Yes.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Tricia Van Hook,
Yes.
Terry Holland,
Yes.
Becky Devaney,
Yes.
passes.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. No old business, new business. Discuss and possibly approve to reimburse from 2023 TASC insurance, task insurance.
So this is your supplemental insurance here. So for 2024, you're already managing your tax benefits in-house. So your employees turn in their EOBs. If the $500 deductible has been met, you're paying them out of the HRA accounts. So for 2023, I recommend that we go back and pay the tax benefits for 2023 for the employees. As of March 31st, you can no longer turn in an EOB to get reimbursed for a task. Used to, that was, I think, 16 months. You had 16 months to turn in a EOB to get reimbursed. I guess where we have canceled the task, they cut that short, sent us a letter as of March 31st. They're no longer accepting any reimbursements. So I recommend that we reimburse in-house those employees. I mean, it's their money. You have your money in the HRA accounts.
Is that the thing we talked about and you were trying to figure it out?
Yeah. And you've got multiple employees that spend well over $10,000 in out-of-pocket medical bills.
How much are we looking?
I don't know, I've got 3 turned in right now. So what we're doing with the 2023 would only be employees only, not the family. Get all the employees taken care of first, and we'll go back and look at the family coverage.
Where'd that come from?
HRA account.
How much do we have in that account right now?
There's 80, I think 89,000 in the water account, and I'm not sure about the general. But if we're short on the Ramona might be able to answer this.
We've got about 12,000 in the HRA general fund account.
But the water HRA account owes the general fund roughly 10,000. Is that correct?
Probably, maybe a little bit more.
A little bit more. So there's money in the HRA accounts to pay these employees.
And we wound up owing.
Yeah, how does this happen?
It's just the tax benefits that this is what we've done with multiple employees as far as filing the EOBs, or submitting the claims, and they just deny everything. So I submitted one for an employee that went through the whole process and he received his initial insurance, I guess what they were paying. Initial
Reimbursement. Isn't this basically reimbursement? Am I
It is.
correct about that?
Yeah, that's what it is. So received the initial insurance claim, submitted where he paid that medical bill, and then submitted the actual EOB, which is what you're supposed to submit. That's what the task goes off of, and they denied that claim.
Based on what?
So,
Based on the fact it's the largest healthcare provider in America and they can do as they please, literally.
that's another reason we want to do away with the United Healthcare and the task insurance and go with the
I
state
would
plan.
assume that you wouldn't have that problem.
Correct.
Well, I think the biggest problem is that, or a big problem is that it's difficult. Joe's, he's walked through fires for some of our clients.
Yeah.
My thinking is that if I have a $10,000 procedure that's got a $5,000 deductible and the city covers $4,500 and I put $500, then there's no reason to deny it, period. And if TASC denied it, then I think litigation should be instituted against TASC to burn them a new one, because they just can't arbitrarily deny that if it's that deductible. Now, if the town hadn't funded it, or if the town hasn't done all the paperwork and so on like that, TASC may have grounds to deny it. But, you know, with this type of a health insurance, it can be a blessing because the town can save tens of thousands of dollars. It can be a curse because somebody's got to keep up with the paperwork. And, you know, in the prior administration, I think the city secretary was assigned to that. I think Ramona might have done some of it at one time before TASC took over. But to make this thing work, you got to have somebody, number one, that knows what they're doing. Number two, can coach the employees and help them through it. And number three, be hard-nosed and get on the phone if necessary and just basically say, I'm not accepting no for an answer.
Kind of like an HR director.
Yes, but then again, see, you're looking at $75,000 that's not budgeted. See, that's why in small businesses, you have to find somebody that you can assign it to that's already on the payroll. So, yeah, I would agree, but you know, I know one time they were screwing me over and I got on the phone and told them I was city judge and recorder and we weren't getting off the phone till I got an answer. And I worked my way back to the bureaucracy, and this was amazing. I was trying to figure out if the city's insurance was superior to Medicare, and this lady said she didn't know. She didn't know how many employees the city had. And I said, you've got the city employee list in your database? Yeah. Well, look it up. And she said, I hadn't thought of that. And why do I have to tell her to do her job? I mean, that's what was infuriating, and I let her know it too. And that's the type of bulldog attitude you got to take. And some people would be critical in terms of, I'll say, being ugly. But I found lots of times when you're on the phone, the other side, you know, you're nothing to them. They put you on hold or voicemail or whatever. And you got to be ugly to get their attention. I've threatened to talk to the superiors and ask them to be terminated for cause. You know, so, and if your person in charge of that's not that bulldog attitude to bite and not let go, then yeah, city employees can suffer.
Yeah.
I don't think this has been an especially effective plan for our employees. I think they're having too much trouble navigating through it.
Yes,
And I
sure.
think the company's not making it any easier.
No. So United right now, like if you were to Google United Healthcare, you would see that they are literally putting a lot of doctors' office practices out of business because they're failing to reimburse. That is a fact. I'm not throwing them under the bus. I mean, they're the nation's largest health insurance provider, but they play hardball. And they do what they want to do, when they want to do it, how they want to do it, if they want to do it, when they want to do it. And that's just...
Ramona, are you the one that has to deal with this, the bookkeeping aspect of it?
Not on the task, we've never done that before up until here recently. And I think Corey and Wendy's been dealing with most of that. We did have a broker that was supposed to be helping us with it, but with task not being involved, then it falls on us here.
And I'll say Corey and Wendy on a couple different occasions spent multiple hours, not 20 minutes, not 30 minutes, not even 1 or 2 hours, 5 and 6 hours with an employee or employees and no headway made. So that pulled them away from other tasks, and here we are with this.
So how much are we talking about, money-wise?
The only 3 employees you've got right now, and I think they may have been paid a little bit, I'm not sure. Wendy might be able to tell me right off. But if you're just plain employees, it's max, 2 employees is 9,000, I mean, you're looking at 13,500. That's for the 3 employees, it's already turned the ELVs and everything in.
2 of those water or all 3?
2 of them's water,
2 water, okay, I thought so.
I have one in the police.
1 in the police.
Okay. So 2 on water, sewer, and 1 in general.
2 in general.
So do we have money in the task account?
Yes.
Well, you made
And
the statement
that's
that,
the HRA account.
you made the statement that the water owes the general fund.
Yeah, I'm not
Has
sure what,
money, what-
Ramona might be able to tell me a little bit.
How that worked was they did a monthly withdrawal out of our HRA account to help fund this. And whatever was not used, they refunded. But most of the time, we had to pay extra at the end of the year because it just wasn't enough. And out of that withdrawal, it only came out of general fund. We were supposed to divide that up by so many employees, and then the water department's supposed to pay their part, which that's not been reimbursed probably in over a year.
So basically, you're just talking about making the bookkeeping correct,
Yes.
Yeah.
but not bookkeeping.
And they owe us reimbursement, for their part on that tax payment. So that will go back into our HRA account.
So Corey, are you recommending
Yes.
that we reimburse these 3 employees?
Well, this is open to any employee that has a claim in 2023. I mean, we all want to do it for all of them. So right now, all he has 3. This turned the ELBs in. And so you want to make this available to everybody.
But, yeah, I know it runs behind. You think majority's got theirs in, or? Oh, that's
I don't know the answer to
6
that.
months into 24.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. I just know that the 3 that we've dealt with so far.
Joe, are we legally bound? I mean, don't you think we're legally bound
Yeah.
to take care of?
I would think as a matter of law, the city finance officer and the water department treasurer would be obligated to go ahead and pay these. Just like you pay your water bill or your telephone bill or whatever it might be. From the standpoint of town council being aware of this, it's certainly good, assuming there's a motion and a second. But I would think if there's no motion and a second, that legal counsel would advise the staff of the town to go ahead and pay these. If you don't, you're in breach of your employment contract.
Then do you really need a motion?
This is another one of those things, just making council aware of everything we do.
Yeah. So we want to be we just want to be transparent.
My thought is that if we're having trouble with task, we get to have a motion to have a paper trail in the minutes
Right.
and approve it,
Yeah.
you know.
And
Because you could always go to them and say, why do we have to go to town council when this is something that's automatic because you all aren't doing your job?
Right.
Now the world knows because it's been on cable TV.
Right.
Well, it does look like breach of contract or something. I mean, they're not doing their job.
So for 2024, they're out of the picture now. And that's one of the reasons.
And I would rather err on the side of transparency, bringing it to council, than you all find out and be like, well, why didn't you tell us? Why, did you find out about it through the grapevine and you come approach us or one of the councilmen? Well, why didn't you know? Well, you do know. we're open, we're honest, we're transparent, so who wants to make a motion?
I make the motion that we take care of our employees and cover these expenses through task.
So we have a motion by Ms. Van Hook, a second.
I'll say.
Mr. Holland, thank you. Any further discussion? Roll call, Joe?
Robert Miller,
Yes.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Teresa Van Hook,
Yes.
Terry Holland,
Yes.
Becky Devane,
Yes.
passed.
Thank you, Joe. Discuss and possibly approve the recommendation of Chief David Laxton to serve as the Town of Oliver Springs representative on the Roane County E911 Board.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
I'd just like to know if Chief Laxton is okay with this.
Oh, yeah.
He's really good with this? Okay.
Roll call, Joe?
Robert Miller,
Yes, sir.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Teresa Van Hook,
Yes.
Terry Holland,
Yes.
Becky Devane,
Yes.
passed.
And much awaited item C. Here we go. Yes.
Brian Stone to come up and present the master installation contract.
Thank you. So I apologize I couldn't be here back on the 16th. But when you guys approved our kind of development and engineering agreement back at the end of April, or middle of April, one of the things that you asked of us was to see if we could find an expedited way to handle the public works shed. So we were ready on the 16th, I just apologize. But between that time, we went out and actually engineered, developed, and then went and got competitive bids on the concrete, the fencing, and the shed. And so hopefully you guys have all seen that. If you don't have a copy of that, I'm happy to, I think there's 20 of them. Pictures of it are on the second page as to what it would look like. Cost is on the front. What we've done is kind of extended at least an offering on this master contract that we would actually subcontract and go and build it. We would pay these subcontractors without being paid from Oliver Springs. And the goal would be to defer that payment until we can finish the development for the rest of the project where we identify the savings to do the other stuff. So tonight you can either make the choice to have us immediately go and build it for you guys, and it's done probably in the next 45 days is just my guess. Maybe 60 weather and material dependent. Or you can simply defer it and wait until the rest of the scope items come in, and you can weigh them all at the same time. So this option allows you to not spend any money now and still get the shed, or you can simply wait until you see the rest of the scope. But I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Right, I mean,
There was one question about the form of payment.
Yeah, so I will say, and I appreciate that, we've had, over the last 2 months as a company, we've had 4 fraudulent attempts of our customers to pay fraudulent parties, to intercept payments from our customers to us. So we've taken so essentially people are spoofing, calling them. I'll give you an example. We had someone in California call one of our customers, pretend to be an employee of Performance Services, and convince that customer to change their method of payment. They then paid a large sum of money to that fraudulent party, and it is now under federal investigation. So it was not us. So we've changed our policies and procedures to make sure that that does not happen anymore. So we can have a discussion about how best to do that over the next 90 days, and I don't mind amending the contract if you guys want a different way. We've just found that is the safest way to ensure that money gets where it is supposed to go actually goes to. And just so you know, we have part of our kind of training with our customers. We actually go through training with you guys and probably the finance department to say, this is where it's coming from. You need to make sure that it is this. If you ever get, it will come mail, email, and a phone call. So whenever you get billed from us or anything, you get all 3 of those so that there's a record that, payment is actually true. But we can figure that. I don't mind making an amendment over the next 90 days to that master agreement if you guys want a different arrangement.
This picture you sent, ain't no doors.
So that's the one, the one on the top on that second page, that's an actual building, like of what it would look like. The one at the Public Works does not have doors. So I will say, the way it's been scoped, it does not, it is ready, so it actually has the slides and you can put in the doors if you choose to. We went with the most economical option and did not put the garage doors in it.
That under the garage is criticism. We don't want a building that ain't got no doors on it.
I mean, the current, actually, the old one didn't, but.
And have to pay more money to put doors in.
It would, but truthfully, this gets you, this is probably the easiest, most economical option. If you'd like us to go back and scope doors on it, we're happy to do that.
That was actually the way we asked them to design it, because this was just strictly an equipment shed. Just kind of, that's what it's replacing, just to drive stuff under. I think one of the middle bays was gonna be a little bit wider where we could drive, or store our water pipe in, which are in 20-foot sections.
And we are also fixing the fencing on the backside of where the shed was. So it is actually enclosing it and making it more secure.
And there's no electricity in there either.
There's not.
So that's another expense.
It is.
Wow, you building me a building, I can't close the door and I can't see.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I'll do whatever you want me to.
I understand that's a fee though, right?
Well, nothing's for free.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to go build it the way you guys exactly, this is the way Ms. Jenkins and I kind of thought that it would be best functional for that space. But if you want something different, we're happy to have those discussions. And
We're just as well off, pour some concrete, and build us a shed than what you're putting out, to me.
I'm sorry, repeat that one more time?
Pour the concrete, make a pad, and build a shed like we had.
That's what we're doing.
But I'm saying you're not.
Well, the old shed did not have doors, unless I'm mistaken. The old shed did not have doors or like.
That was what we had before, it didn't cost no $170,000 either.
Well, 117.
$117,000, didn't cost that much either.
Unless I'm mistaken, the old shed did not have electrical or doors.
No.
Well, we had lights that surrounded.
I don't think it had, I'm not sure it had lights, did it?
Did it even have concrete poles?
No.
Correct, it was dirt.
I don't think it had real poles.
Yeah, it had poles.
Rough cut. It's rough.
Yeah.
I mean, in defense of what, they're putting out, like I had a buddy of mine go out and just rough it, like pole barn style, like mine, at my house, which this one, what's the spec on this, 25 by?
120 by 24 by 14 high.
Okay, so mine at my house is 105 feet long by 42 feet deep by 16 feet high. I mean, and I spent like $80,000, okay? Now I spent an additional $18,000 on electrical on top of that. I mean, this is a good product. You get concrete here. Mine doesn't even have concrete yet. That's going to be an additional $30,000 whenever I decide to pony it up and do it.
And by the way, these are competitive bids. So
Right.
we did put out bids for multiple for each of for the concrete, the fencing, and the shed.
And what was the biggest expense of the concrete?
Concrete is not cheap.
Yeah,
Especially nowadays, it is not cheap.
$175 a yard.
It's right, 220.
128.
220 a yard right now.
Yeah.
You said a lot of places that build 3 times that big. I can't believe it. They'd spend over $150,000 on places I've seen.
How do you handle change orders?
We don't do change orders.
Really?
We do not.
How do you avoid that? I mean,
So there is a small amount of contingency in here, but that's part of our promise to you. That was one of the guarantees when I stood up here 6 weeks ago. We don't do change orders. If we miss something, we eat it.
Well, I wasn't.
Unless it's your request, unless you request us to
Well,
change
that's
something.
what I was doing. If we voted tonight to get this thing started, and then town council at the next meeting voted to add doors to it and electrical work, or say you came with a bid with the doors and electrical work, that's not your mistake.
Correct.
It's just that we want to upgrade the facility, then we would execute the change orders and pay the extra money, right?
Correct. So this building is ready, it's electrical and door ready. It's just not included in that cost. So if it's different later on, the next council meeting, or 2 months from now, or later this year, if you guys wanted to add electrical and doors, no problem.
Sad.
So we added it 2 years from now, would that be your responsibility or our responsibility as contractors?
well, I hope we'll still be partners on this.
Okay.
So I'd love to help you continue
Okay.
working with Oliver Springs.
Okay.
So basically, it would be a separate project, right?
Yes.
Let's say 6 months later, we decided to add doors. and
Here's what I'll
electricity.
promise you, and I'll write this down. When I come back to you in 90 days, I'll bring that as an option. If you guys want to approve it and move forward with the shed,
No,
I don't
just-
mind bringing that as an option so you can see
That's up
exactly
to
how much it
staff,
is.
because if we don't need the doors and electricity, we don't need it, but if we need them, then we ought to consider it.
So, I mean, when we started designing it, we were just trying to do this as cheap as possible, just to replace that shed because insurance wouldn't cover the one you had anymore.
Right.
So we got that out of the way now, so all we're looking is somewhere to get the equipment out of the weather.
And if this is adequate, we've got plenty of places to spend money. I mean, we've lots
Yeah.
of projects
Yeah,
that need to be done.
and the whole thing was go ahead and get it to where you could add the electric later, you could add the lights later,
Right.
you could add the doors later when you had the money to do it.
Could we add something that, speaking of electrical, we just did a stub out for the electric? You know, before you do the slab, you just rough in a.
Yeah.
It's ready, so that's part.
It does that,
It does.
rough in? Okay. It's good.
So it's, like I said, it's electrical indoor ready. They're just not included in this cost.
Okay.
Let's look at this. Say we vote to do this and we incur the $117,000 and some change and don't do any of the other projects, are we even with you all?
So the way that would work and the way it's spelled out in the contract is, we are not gonna invoice you for at least 90 days for this $117,000. We will pay the subcontractors without being paid from you guys, which I would hope you understand. We want to be a good partner of Oliver Springs, and so that's something that we're doing to be a good partner. When we get down to the road and you see all the rest of the scope, the things like the lighting and the water plant and the sewer and those, when I bring that back to you, this will be basically a required piece of the project. So you could either pay for only this piece, or you can say, let's look at the rest of it. So when we bring you the rest of the scope, it's just, this is a required piece of the project. It's just, either you're paying us for it because we've already done it, or we're building it into the rest of the scope.
Okay, let me, if I understand you correctly, what you're saying is that we vote to sign this contract tonight, and you provide us with a billing for $117,397. 91 days, I guess, after the project's completed, we owe you the $117,397, and then you come to us and say, the rest of the project's gonna cost $400,000, and this town council doesn't vote to go with phase 2 or phase 3, then we don't owe you any more money.
That $43,000 that you already agreed to.
$43,000,
Yes, sir.
okay, okay,
Yeah,
all right,
which is covered in by a grant.
okay, yeah.
But
So the goal is that we try to find enough,
Correct.
savings
Right.
to cover the cost of this. I can't give you that guarantee at this meeting, but that is the goal. Over the next 90 days, we identify enough savings to cover this cost.
this appears to be our greatest need right now.
Yeah.
I wanna know the price you'd add to this for the electrical and the doors.
I don't have that information right now.
That's what I'd like to see before we make an agreement.
Okay?
I'd say 60,000 at least, probably.
Well, we
Add the doors
can't
and
we can't just have a,
To add doors and electric, I'd say at least 60.
But I don't think you did the doors. They didn't want them more than they just cut the cost. did they?
No, I don't think Corey wanted the door.
Well, I mean, it's just a shed, it's an equipment
It's not
storage
really-
shed.
Right,
Doors
so
are-
but he's worried about the doors. right?
I don't think that was necessarily to meet our purpose,
No.
was not really to need doors on this particular building.
I understand that the
It's
doors.
set. Go ahead.
One of the things, the electrical is really, I just don't want to get the building that don't have no lights in it. If you understand what I'm saying.
I do. So in my defense, I did what I was asked. So I'm happy to provide that information to you. I don't have it tonight.
But there was a discussion of one door or something.
Yeah.
That is correct, at the end.
Yeah, that's good.
Had one bay, yes, it was. And I agree, you know, not in this particular, in this phase, but in phase 2, it would be nice to have electrical and lighting. I don't feel like doors are needed on this, because it is a shed, but lighting would be good in a phase 2 or phase 3. You get us that in 90 days, we visit it, and Okay, we can't afford it now, but maybe in 6 months from now we can, or a year from now we can. And we get where, you know, because again, with my business, and I try to take the same approach with the city that I take with my business. If I can't afford it today, that's fine. I afford what I can, and then I work towards what I want, right? And it's step one, it's step two, it's step three, and I ultimately get to where I'm going one step at a time. I don't just all of a sudden get helicoptered in and dropped off at my final destination. It'd be nice, but that's just not the way it works.
Our employees are at risk of no lights. I'm not in any kind of voting form for anything that don't have lights in it.
Let me read a motion I've written here. It would be motion to accept the contract of performance services to bid and build the garage, and I'll incorporate a little bit more specific stuff about the garage if this passes, for the $117,397, and provided that the preliminary task 2 and capital improvements are not accepted, the town owes performance services a fee of $45,000 that will be paid for by grant money, and that performance services obtain bids for lighting and report back to town council at a meeting in the immediate near future with the bids for review by town council. Now, what that means is they're going to start construction within the immediate near future, and assuming nothing else is done, the building won't have electricity. But if they come back and say, we can put electricity in for $10,000, it'd be motion and second to pay for it. And that would not be your nickel, because it's not your mistake, we're adding to it.
Understood.
Because I don't want to cost you anything.
No.
Well, normally when they pour concrete, they put the conduit.
That's what he's saying, it would be in there.
Now, I can put in there, if it'll satisfy Mr. Brown, that they will, listen carefully, that they will put the conduit and the concrete in anticipation of electrical.
Future
In the
electrical
future.
wiring. Yeah.
Is that appropriate?
Before I say yes, I just want to verify. I want to make sure that I'm 100% certain. I'm 99% certain it's in. I want to make sure I'm 100% certain before I commit to conduit being in. What I was told is it would be electrical ready. Now, what that means,
Okay,
I
yeah.
don't know. I was told it would be electrical and door ready. So I want to make sure I clarify, at least on my end, what
The
that means.
door ready, it makes me sound they'd be conduit or something,
Well, he said
prep
there
for
was-
there or something.
He said earlier that.
Yeah, it's got, it's got the little groove, it's basically
How long
grooves
has
where
this
the
been good
slide.
for?
It's where the grooves and the slides, so I can hold this pricing until next Friday. Then I've got to go back and rebid it.
Okay. Well, what if I put in there that the concrete of the building,
To me, as long as the slab's prepped, you're not tearing up concrete later to put that in. Where
So
the
again,
garage,
I just want
you
to
can
clarify
separate.
on my end,
what did you say, electrical ready?
electrical ready. So I just want to make sure I know what exactly that means.
Yeah.
A lot of this you could do after it got started, as long as the slab's prepped.
Correct.
That's some way he's thinking. The 43,000 we talked about up front, if we did do this, did do that, now see you're charging 36,000.
Sure.
Where does that come in, the 43 or
Sure,
36?
so I'll give you a little breakdown on that.
Without us
So-
taking 2 or 3 hours.
No, it's not, I can give you 2 minutes. So a portion of that, there were 2 bids that we received did not have sales tax. Because we are contracting for and paying the subcontractors, we have to pay sales tax. Your tax exempt status does not pass through to us. So there's a portion that was sales tax. There is a portion that is our cost to go ahead and design it, go and bid it, go and walk contractors, make sure we have everything ready. It's our overhead and profit. We've got a small amount of contingency in there, and that contingency is how we promise no change orders. And before I go past that, if that contingency is not used, it rolls into the other scope, or it comes back to you guys at that time.
Let me offer this thought then, that we would move to accept your contract to bid and build the garage for $117,397, and that the building will be electrical ready. And if this does not mean that the conduit is in the concrete pad, then the town owes additional money for the conduit And that if the preliminary task 2 and the capital improvements not accepted, the town would owe your company a fee of $45,000 to be paid out of grant money.
I think it's 43.
43.
43, I'm sorry, yeah.
So, give you the other breakdown. There's a portion that's our overhead, and then there's a portion to carry that cost for the 90-plus days. So, that's essentially it.
Well, what I'm.
Oh, and the project management, I apologize. Give me one
What
second.
I'm wanting to do is to put it in a position where council can vote it tonight and take care of the contingency of the conduit, because we won't meet again before Friday.
Understood, I just want to answer his question, if
Okay.
that's okay. It's also project management, so it does not mean Mr. Jenkins does anything. We manage it, we own the risk, we're singly accountable for it. So I've got another project in Livingston. I've scheduled that project manager to spend 8 hours a week in Oliver Springs over 6 weeks. So there's a project manager that will be here every single week, may not be every single day, but it'll be multiple hours, at least 8 hours a week. So that's where that 36,000 is, and that's just our cost of it.
Will you read back what you've got?
It would be a motion to accept the bid of Performance Services, Inc. to bid, and our motion to sign the Master Installation Contract of Performance Services, Inc. to bid and build the garage for $117,397. And the contract calls for the building to be electrical ready. And if this does not mean that conduit is in the concrete pad, then the town would owe additional money for the conduit and the electrical readiness as it relates to the concrete pad. And that if the preliminary task 2 and the capital improvements not accepted, the town would owe Performance Services a fee of $45,000 that we paid for the grant money.
43.
43, yeah, I keep saying 45.
Do you know the gauge of the siding? What gauge is it?
I do. I don't think I put it on here. I don't remember.
You know that?
It was, I want to say, I don't remember.
But it is siding, no?
Yes, it's enclosed on 3 sides.
I'm talking about it's not siding, what else they put on the houses?
Aluminum. It'd be metal sheet.
It's metal.
Some kind of gunite, isn't it, or something like that?
That's what you put on your daddy's place.
That's what you put in your pool.
Yeah.
You don't know the
There's
gauge?
some kind of board that they, particle board type stuff they
That's what
use.
you put on your daddy's place.
Yeah.
Have you took into account a recent high water that we're at a good
Yeah,
enough
so-
elevation that we'll be good in
We
100-year
did, so
flood?
we actually
deal?
added a little bit, a couple inches on the concrete to account for it. We felt good enough that it was far away enough from that creek that it was safe. But because we had entertained putting it closer to the creek on that side and then extending the fence around, we felt we were okay.
What do you think we liked being to that elevation? I could tell that picture, we're kind of close with it.
So it was almost all the way across the road that circles around the garage. So as far as elevation wise, probably another foot and a half.
Not at the time, unless that's the highest.
Well,
it's ever been.
that's just to get to the ground level over there.
Yeah.
I mean, this will be another 8-10 inches on top of that, so you're looking at 2.5 foot.
Okay.
To get on top of that pad.
Okay, that sounds better than
Right.
in a big old tree.
I make the motion that we go with the contract and the motion as Joe has written it, to go ahead and make certain that we are electrical ready for the concrete pad.
So we have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll say.
Motion and second, any further discussion?
May I ask one question? Just to be clear, I will do my best for the 20th. I believe it's the 20th is the next meeting. Is that correct?
Yes.
What's today?
The
Yes.
6th.
It is.
14 days from today.
Yes.
I will do my absolute best to have that information by the 20th. I can't guarantee it, but I will do my absolute best.
Good.
So one question, are you using local?
We are. So these were both local bids.
So
Or
where's the
actually, all
concrete?
3 of them were local.
Where's the concrete?
We did Milliken, we did, there was one out of Oak Ridge, and there was one out of Knoxville. But I'm happy to give you those.
That's not local. We got CNC concrete, just down the highway.
So I have no problem over the next 2 weeks having them come back out and do it. If it's cheaper, we'll bring it down. So this is
They're a local business here in Oliver Springs.
Okay.
CNC Concrete.
and I'll be honest, that sounds familiar. We may have asked them.
You may have their bid already.
Yes.
So
If you don't, we would ask that you ask them for.
And then Phillips, is it Phillips?
Phillips fencing.
Was one, and then there was another, I think it's either Oak Ridge or Knoxville fencing.
There's a
So that,
Daniel fencing out of.
D&M, yeah, Ted McKinney.
so that's the one good thing about, this contract is we get to pick, we can pick the contractors that we use.
Kenwood.
Yeah.
Oh, and you also picked the color of the shed.
We'll leave that up to somebody.
Purple.
Yeah, there you go.
Purple and gold.
Hey, that will be mud,
Gonna be better. You said you did that wrong.
All right, any more discussion? Roll call, Joe.
Robert Miller,
Yes.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Teresa Van Hunt,
Yes.
Terry Hall,
Yes.
Becky Devane.
Yes.
Good deal, thank you. Discuss and possibly approve the fiscal year 2024-2025 budget.
So y'all wanna go to line by line?
We had breakfast.
So, real quick, total revenues, your FY 23-24 budget was 2.876 million. Your proposed FY 24, 2025 budget is 3.288 million. There is some grant revenue included in that, but the two big things are your local sales tax. Substantial increases over what the budget was for 23-24. So take these, look through them. There was one thing, let's look on page 3 real quick. It's highlighted in red under Alderman. So for this year, we've paid $1,314.48. Now, this was for the council members' email addresses and the tablets. Is this something you all use?
No. Mine's never been turned on. I was only, I found mine,
Later, one in the crowd.
Okay.
I found mine, I was cleaning up my office last week before, found mine. Mine's never been turned on. I don't know that mine has,
Okay. So let's jump to the back page. That would be page 12. Y'all highlighted at the very bottom, your total expenses, $3,286,965. Total revenues, $3,288,981. That means you have about $2,000 or $2,016 to play with here. So this already has the health insurance, the Cigna, or the state plan health insurance built in as well. Take this, look over it, call me, it don't matter if it's on the weekend, whenever, come see me. If not, we need to set the budget workshop for preferably later next week. And there's some easy questions about the budget on this agenda item.
where is it, like Thursday?
Thursday should be perfect.
What, you said earlier in the week works for you, right, because of,
Sorry.
oh yeah, she's.
We can meet at your place.
Do what?
We can meet at your place.
That's true. Yes, that's true.
You could have Frida's ice cream and hot dogs and do a quick meeting.
So, I mean, unless I could do like. It's hard when you work 2 jobs.
You're right.
Well, y'all pick and then if I can make it, I can make it.
You
So
don't
what
have
days
to
are
have
not good for
workshops.
you?
Thursdays and Fridays, the shop sale.
Yeah.
That's the
Okay.
shop sale. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
What about Monday evening? Does that work?
Well, that's a push. I need a couple days to go through this, which I'm gonna work on it over the weekend.
Oh,
Can we
Need to go through and make
do,
some changes.
can we compromise on the?
What about Monday the 17th? That'd be, let's see,
Be the same week as the council meeting.
yeah, you do it on Monday night and then you'd have the council meeting Friday or Thursday.
I won't be in town.
That work from the 17th.
Could we, 11th or 12th? I know that 11th would be pushing at 12. No, it's Wednesday, it's
The
church night.
12th? Well, yeah, I've got something on the 11th.
It'd be the 12th.
Does that work for
Yes.
everybody, the 12th? Can everybody make that work?
Yeah.
Does that work
Is
for
that
you?
It
Tuesday?
does, not to me.
That's
Wednesday?
Wednesday.
A Wednesday evening?
Church Day.
Yeah,
I mean, I can do it.
okay. So,
And if we need to start earlier, that's fine. I mean, whenever.
June 12th, 6 o'clock.
You could do earlier if you wanted to. 6 fine?
6
Is
o'clock.
everybody good with that?
Wednesday, June 12th.
Yep, 6 o'clock. Wednesday, June 12th, 6 o'clock, budget meeting. Our budget meeting's open to the public,
Yeah.
so
Absolutely.
if you want to attend. So, all right. Motion to adjourn?
So can I
Oh,
make, sorry,
Yes.
I missed my opportunity earlier. But I would like to request, and I know Corey, you're working really hard, but I kind of need the packets more than 24 hours before.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
It makes
And
it
we
very
kinda-
difficult.
Right, and we kind of talked about that, kind of having the cutoff that previous Friday. That way they give us Monday, do the payroll, start on the packets, and get those out the Monday afternoon. So I just printed this budget stuff about 5 o'clock this afternoon. So, yeah, absolutely.
Now, you can send a packet, but it may not be complete.
Then we
See,
come
that's the
here and then we
problem.
got stacks of papers.
Yeah.
How tall is this stack? 6 inches?
Yeah, it's all mine straight and so just set it down and blend it into the other.
And that's all. I just, a request, please.
Got it. Motion to adjourn. So moved. All in favor, say aye.